It's about 1.5 months left here in Finland. Today I want to talk about why exactly did I come here? Why did I decide to do an exchange year? And why did I decide to do it in Finland? Ravi.
Hello there.
Why did you come to Finland? Why did you do an exchange here in Finland? What was your decision?
They are pretty into the environment and taking care of the environment, and it was like the university is pretty good in environmental science and forestry. And also because the weather was the opposite of Valencia, and also the people. I don't know. I wanted to go on Erasmus. I was bored home.
Thinking back, do you regret your decision of coming here? Javi?
No, I don't. Like I'm losing a lot in information about my degree, but here I'm learning about life, living alone, being independent. So I think that's more important. It's like the university of life.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Is he gone already?
What?
No, nothing. Okay, so now that he's gone, just wanted to say that it fucking sucks, Yannick. I'm sorry to say, but you're such a bad cook. Next time, I'm cooking. Thank you for your meal, love. That's everything I wanted to say. This is like my hidden message for you later.
I think I heard a thank you there, right? You're welcome. I want to talk to you about my motivations to why I went to Finland. Why didn't I voyage to the US? Why didn't I go to the UK? Why didn't I go into any other country that was natively English speaking, but I chose to go here? In May of 2012, my best friend offered me to go to a concert from a band whose name is Dangerkids. And their band was one back then who was just starting out to become very popular, and I had the opportunity to go to a concert. However, I did not. This was going to be their singular time. They would be in Germany in a small pub, and it will be something I would forever regret, because the evening they've had is still one that is resounding today. It's one of the best concerts they've ever been to. The reason I didn't go is because I was afraid. I was afraid of judgment, I was afraid of doing something I wasn't familiar with, and I was afraid of doing something that I didn't know. Once my friend came to me and addressed me 2-3 days after the concert and told me this was the best concert of my life, I felt what was for the first time the deep pain of regret. And I swore to myself back then, I wrote an article on Medium about this, by the way, when I went to Finland. I swore to myself back then that this was going to be the one and only time that I will ever face this pain of regret that is self-induced, that I've brought upon myself. There's enough reasons, there's enough problems, and there's enough points when this pain will come regardless, whether I want to control it or I can't. But there is points where I'm clearly in control of things. When I then got the acceptance letter in January 2018 that I was accepted to go to Finland, I was posed with this decision again, because there was one thing that was permeating every other thought, and that was again fear. Because of the fears I have had before I went, I was about to miss out of what would be one of the greatest times of my life, which is where I am right now, and I'm grateful every day. I thank God that I did it and that I went to do this year abroad. So right here we have myself. That was the past self that I had before I came to Finland. And right here we have my future self. Is a self that has never been reached, a self that is an ideal. That is the self that surrounds right here. And right here we have what I call obstructions, the wall, the obstacle, the challenge, and the symbolization of and everything that might stand in the way for me transgressing from this towards this. For me, the biggest obstacle that I've always had ever since I've been a small kid was the fear of judgment. That was one of the things that has always impacted me to a level that has been almost uncanny, that has made me miss out on many things. So I've always had this incredible, huge wall, and I've built this up for myself over and over and over again. And this has been in the crushing insensitivity of making this self insecure, making this self lacking a personality, making this self also unconfident, making this self weak, and making this self all in all unsatisfied. I ask myself, because I've been really invested into this whole kind of personality development spectrum, and all these people I've been looking up to who I really aspire to be like, I've asked myself, so what would they do? By imposing my mindset onto some sort of ideal, whoever that might be, in this case it was these people who I've been following for a long time, I was able to make a decision. And one of the main influences that I would back then was Casey Neistat. And Casey said at some point in his vlogs, because I was really consuming his vlogs back then when I got the acceptance, to just make a decision because you will make it right anyways, no matter what happens. And that's true. It's true, whatever decision you make, whatever decision this one would make, this one would find a way to make it right. To eventually connect. But this demanded one thing of me, and that was the absolute necessity to not back down and to be able to either overcome or to crush this wall. So my former self then thought about my future self and thought everything that is wrong about this self. What am I doing wrong? What have I been doing wrong to that time? And what do I hope to gain in the future self that was going to go to Finland? And one of the main things that I wanted to enforce and to improve, obviously, was my English. So I had the first little step. The first little step go to at least approach the wall. The second one would be to understand, to envelop myself in an environment that is new. And to be able to improve not only my public speaking skills, not only my articulative skills when it comes to English language, but also my interactive skills. How do I perform now, after I've been doing this for a long time, on interacting with new people and impacting new lives, and how do I improvise in a world that's completely new to me? That was the second step. And the third step, and the biggest step for me, was that the fear itself told me that it absolutely had to be done. There's the reasonable fear and there's the unreasonable fear. You're obviously afraid of jumping off the cliff because you're gonna die. But you're also afraid of talking to this one girl or guy because you're afraid of rejection. But these are things that are so unreasonable because in the end they really don't matter. When I was about to leave 2, 3, 4 months before, the circumstances of the former self weren't really ideal. I wasn't really in a good place back then. But I knew that there was this crystal in the darkness, this looming future self which required me to go to Finland, to go to seek the unknown, to go to make friends with what I don't know, and to eventually also make friends with who I really am. These were the 3 steps for me that eventually enabled me to overcome the wall, overcome the fear and overcome the obstacles, and in the end jump off it and now being closer to the person who I am. Because there's one other secret that I'm going to tell you. I am never going to be my ideal. This is never going to happen because as I move forward, as I move closer to becoming this ideal, my ideal ideally improves. And so I will keep moving and I will keep moving and I will keep moving until I've come as close as possible. What I've learned so far and what I've learned in 22 years of living on this earth and living this incredible life so far is that you never figure this out. I didn't figure it out when I thought I was 18. I didn't think I was going to figure it out when I thought I was 20 because I thought, hey, I'm now a university student. I'll have my life figured out. No. If at some point I feel like I figured it out, I will seek something that's wrong. Because guess what? Now my present self is right here, but my ideal self is still there. I still want to improve my articulative skills. I still want to improve my reading and writing skills. It's all things why I am doing this vlog. It's why I'm doing the podcast. It's why I'm doing any kind of digital media connected work right now. It's because I feel this is a necessity to improve myself in this regard. To be able to look in the mirror every morning and say, hey, that is something that I as a person, as an individual, as myself can stand behind it. I can regard as a progress, as a considerable progress on the trail down the life train. And that, in a nutshell, is why I'm sitting here right now, where I am talking to the camera, to you guys. And while I will keep doing this for the rest of my time, if I regard this to be a thing that needs to be improved. Because the worst thing you can do, the worst thing I can do, the worst thing any of us that's watching this right now can do, is to become a slave of your fears.
Can you see my brain?